Hello baseball family, Matthew here again with another episode of the British Baseball Podcast. I'm excited to have alongside me today Said Bayan from the Birmingham Metal Heads. Said, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming on. We've been chatting for quite a while, and it's nice to have you on here in person instead of just sending a little video messaging, which I really appreciate you doing back in the day. So thank you very much. So technically, this is your second appearance on the show, but your first proper debut.
Well, I mean, when we did it before, I remember saying that I wasn't confident doing it on camera, so I just sent a little voice note. But growth and progression over the last few years. So yeah, here we are.
Here we are, indeed. Excellent. So, as we like to start off the episodes now with a new feature of two baseball truths and a lie. Oh, you've got three lovely stories lined up for us, and see which one we can suss out is the truth and the lie.
Yeah. Obviously, because I know myself, like I feel like it's a bit easy, but I'll read them out to you, and we'll see if you can give it a crack. So the first one is, I've broken more bats than I've hit home runs. The second one is, this year I've umpired as many league games as I've played.
Yeah.
And the last one is, I once stole all the way home from a dropped third strike due to field errors all in the same play. What do you think?
Oh man, I really want that to be true. I'm going with the lie being the umpiring one.
Is that your final answer, Matt?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No.
You don't want to have a think through this?
No, I'll go with that as being a lie.
That one is correct. Unfortunately, this year's been a year of injuries and a lot of holidays and stuff. So I've only actually played one league game. I did play in the Summer Cup, but I'm just counting the league games I played in. And yeah, this past Sunday, I umpired a Metal Heads game against Long Eaton. It was actually my first league game that I've umpired. I took like a umpiring clinic like a year and a half ago, just never put it into practice. And yeah, they needed an umpire and I was injured, so I stepped in. It would have been nice to steal home, but yeah.
How did you find umpiring?
It was very interesting. Obviously, it's like I've seen umpires. I've played in games with umpires, and I've not always agreed with their calls. I think being an umpire and making those calls, I think I called around 340 pitches during the game. And yeah, it was difficult because you want to make everyone happy, but you can't. But you have to back yourself. I think the key to anyone who's starting umpiring is just to be confident in your call, because even if you're right, if you sound shaky, people will question you. But if you're just confident, back yourself. I think the plate conference with the managers before the game is really important. I've kind of just set the expectation. It's my first game. I'm going to do my best. And, I'm sure it'll be fine. If you have any questions or you want to challenge anything, we can have the conversation in between innings. It'll be fine. And yeah, once that was done and out of the way, it was fine, honestly. No issues. Obviously, it's tough to kind of umpire a game that your team is playing in. Obviously, you have to be unbiased. But yeah, I think I did okay. I asked the opposition how they found me. Was I fair and stuff, and they were happy. So yeah, all good.
Excellent. So that wasn't a lie. So I'm going to go with the broken bats and home runs then.
That's the lie.
Yeah.
No. I know. I wish. Yeah, I've built a bit of a reputation for breaking bats. Unfortunately, not like out of anger, I've struck out and I just snap one in half. But just the ball's hit inside, it's too quick, and yeah, the bat breaks. Unfortunately, I've never actually hit a home run. So that definitely is something I want to do. But yeah, unfortunately, the lie is that I've stolen home from a drop third strike. I have actually stolen home from first once. It was actually my debut as a pinch runner.
Yeah.
I was put at first base and I just kind of went around because they made a few errors, but not from home, unfortunately.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Well, it's an expensive hobby, baseball. I don't want to make it more expensive by smashing more bats, but maybe Father Christmas will bring you some if you're a good boy.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So let's find out a bit about yourself then, Said. What is your earliest memories of baseball and how did it lead to you becoming involved in British baseball?
Yeah, so growing up, I'll be honest, I really hated baseball. It was the only American sport that I found boring. So I was into my NFL, into my NBA, into my hockey. I even watched a bit of MLS for a bit. And I just didn't find baseball that interesting. And then about 4 years ago, I got into this anime show, which basically was a cartoon show that followed a Japanese high school baseball team around. Because growing up, like with my family, with my mom on the Saturday morning, we'd always watch sport anime, football animes, volleyball animes, and then I just got into baseball. I was like, let me just pick baseball as the next one, and I really enjoyed it. I just found the game quite fascinating, quite interesting. Um, and then when I got into university, so obviously it shows how old I was when I got into baseball. I didn't get in quite young. I wanted to get into it, but the team at Coventry University, they were called the Red Arrows. They had folded the year that I joined. Because
Okay.
essentially the managers and the management graduate, and no one else kind of fills in the gap. It's not like a club where people stick around. And ironically, the manager that left ended up being one of my teammates at Birmingham Baseball Club, Nathan.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, Nathan Fernando, yeah. But yeah, small world. But then I just Googled baseball in Birmingham, found Birmingham Baseball Club around, I want to say October 2020. So it was the pandemic. It was when
Hmm.
umpires had to be behind the mound. And they weren't called the Metal Heads at that point. They were still called the Bandits, and they were in that transition period. And yeah, so that's how I got into baseball, from a small team of 10 to 15 people to now a massive club with two teams and a youth club and a lot going on.
So sports anime.
Yeah,
I'm in. What is this
yeah.
baseball one that you found?
So the show is called Ace of Diamond. It's basically based around the Koshin tournament, which is like the premier high school tournament in baseball. I think the 100th anniversary or the 100th version of this tournament, I think starts today or in the next few days. Um, but yeah, it's just an incredible sports tournament where they fill professional stadiums, 50,000, 40,000 seat stadiums, watching 16-year-olds play baseball. And it's just the anime that kind of just shows the struggle of playing baseball. And what I appreciated about it was that it was realistic. It didn't have like any superpowers or any, magical stuff. It
Mm.
was reflective of what baseball is in real life. And I just thought, this looks fun. Let me try and do it myself if it's around. But it was a while between me watching the show to actually getting involved because I didn't know that baseball existed in the UK, until I got into uni, and I just thought, let me give it a try. But yeah, who would have thought? People always ask me how to get into baseball, and yeah, I always cringe when I have to say it was an anime, but it's the truth.
I think that I don't think that's cringeworthy at all. I think that's fantastic. Like
Yeah.
for me, it's a video game,
Mm.
and I think it's amazing how people can find their path to this sport, whatever it means. And having an anime, I love anime. I'm an anime fan.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, like I've watched a few sports and like the basketball one and Tiger Mask W, the wrestling one.
I haven't heard of
Tiger Mask
either of
W.
those before.
And but yeah, most of my anime stuff tends to be a lot of the uh late 80s, early 90s, and probably late 90s stuff as well. That's how I
Yeah,
got into anime.
nice.
What was your favorite anime?
I'd say Attack on Titan, I think,
Hmm.
well, in my opinion, is the greatest piece of fiction ever written. Um, just my opinion, obviously. But yeah, Attack on Titan, I think just the foreshadowing, the storytelling, the characters, and I kind of got lucky with it because there was like, those that followed it live as it got released, there was like a 4 year gap, but
Hmm.
I got in late, so I didn't have to wait 4 years. I kind of just watched it all in one go. So yeah, but I was binging that for a while. But yeah, Attack on Titan I'd say is probably my number one. Hunter Hunter's another one that I like. And yeah, Ace of Diamond, obviously because of the baseball, it has to be up there for me as well.
I have to check out Ace of Diamond. I need to
Yeah,
get that
really
on the
good,
go.
honestly. Yeah.
Hmm. Excellent. What you mentioned then about liking US sports and not liking baseball to start with. What was the appeal of North American sports to you then, and how did you sort of find your way within those sports?
Yeah, so when I was in secondary school, I played a lot of basketball. That was my go-to sport. So
Yeah.
naturally, I just watched the NBA. I'm a Washington Wizards fan. They've been really bad as long as I remember. I don't actually know why I chose them. I might have just liked their uniform or something, but yeah, I've been suffering for about 10 years now. But so then that got me into NBA. Then naturally, when you get into that community of American sports fans, most NBA fans have an NFL team. So you got to that. I'm a Chargers fan in the NFL. Again, they're not that good. It's just a common trend. My football team's West Bromwich Albion. They're my local club. They're not good. So yeah, I think American sports is just different. I think the media there is different.
Yeah.
They have all these sports talk shows. I used to watch First Take and Undisputed every single morning. I'd just go on ESPN YouTube's channel and just watch all these, hot take debate shows about sports. Baseball wasn't really big there. They didn't really discuss baseball as much. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just not as popular as the others. I don't know. But that's how I got into American sport. And baseball was the only one for some reason that I just couldn't get into.
Mm,
It literally needed an anime to convince me that it was, worth watching. But yeah,
amazing. Amazing. Yeah, I sort of felt a love with football because I'm a Bolton fan. And being a Bolton fan in school, Manchester United fans and Manchester City fans. It's
yeah,
predominantly Manchester United fans, to be honest. It just wasn't a pleasant experience. So I was just like, I need to find something that's my own. And I was watching, it used to be on like stuff like Transworld Sports back in the day on Channel 4. And it used to show the American football and stuff in the mornings. And when I was babysitting for my next door neighbour's daughter years ago, they had Sky TV. Not many people did. And I used to just watch the ice hockey highlights and the basketball
yeah,
and stuff. And I was just all in. I had sticker books. I could read you facts like you wouldn't believe. Just all these like
yeah.
nuggets
Late
of
nights,
information.
early mornings. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the best. It's
100%.
brilliant.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Right. So what have you managed to draft any of your mates into playing baseball, or is it just your own thing?
No. So when I first joined, I had one of my childhood friends who got into it for about 3 months. So he used to play cricket. So I just convinced him,
Hmm.
look, it's a natural progression. You can swing, about that's fine. I don't know. I just think he enjoyed it in terms of just having like a kickabout with mates sort of thing. But organized sport and training and playing every week and that commitment, I think, just wasn't the right fit for him. So he just kind of stepped away. No one else really. I've been shouting about it. I'm literally trying to pull people to just watch a game as well. I don't think anyone's really interested in my circle. Unfortunately, it's mostly football. But yeah, no, it's just me. It's just me. But obviously, I've got a nice community of friends that I've found within
Hmm.
baseball, so that's all good. But yeah, no one,
Nice.
no one that I've known before baseball that's involved.
What do they think about it then when you talk about it?
I mean, they do find it quite interesting because it's different. I think the first thought is, I never knew baseball existed in this country, and then when I tell them that there's so many teams, so many players around the country, and it's growing, like they are quite surprised. Obviously, a lot of them jokingly say, "Oh, it's just rounders, isn't it?" That's kind of go to,
Hmm.
which it does annoy me. But yeah, yeah, they do find it quite interesting. But a lot of them are just shocked that it even exists. Obviously, when they follow me on social media and that's all I post, I'm kind of shoving it down their throat. But yeah,
That's interesting. I'm curious now. When it comes down to barring injury, what would you say your your perfect Sunday would look like?
game day. Yeah,
Hmm. Doesn't
yeah.
have to be a game day. You might decide to do something different.
No, no, it's definitely a game day. So yeah, I think first of all, it's got to be sunny. It's got to be good weather. Um, just walking to Marston Green, which is our home field at Birmingham. Just setting up the field, obviously being the home team, just having good chat with my teammates, and then just playing a good game of baseball, good competitive game of baseball. Um, we have someone in our club called John, who's our designated scorer. Like 3 years ago, he just messaged saying, hi guys, don't want to play, not interested in playing, but I love data and I want to analyze stats for you guys and scout teams for you. Basically, Moneyball. You see him in his athletics hat and shirt. So he's our scorer. He sits right behind home plate, and he calls it Scorer's Corner. And my favorite part of a Sunday is just sitting next to John and just picking his brain, asking him questions. What does this stat mean? Or how does that work? And just kind of learning the game from him. Obviously, that's like when someone else is batting, and then the rest of the time when I'm on the field, obviously playing the game is a big part of that. So yes, honestly, Sunday is what I look forward to every single week. Just playing baseball, having competitive games of baseball. That's kind of like my highlight of my week. So yeah,
How's your season going so far, the Metalheads?
really good, really good. It's definitely our best season so far. So just a bit of backstory, just to kind of go through where we were and where we've got to. In our first season, we had a record of 2-10. In our second season, we had a record of 7-7. In our third season, we had a record of 9-5, just missing the playoffs by losing the last, winner goes on game against Leicester. And then this year, we're 6-0. We won the Summer Cup, the Double A edition
Mhm.
of that, beating the Mets in the final in a really close game. And I think it's fair to say we are one of the favourites for the WNBL, the West Midlands Baseball League this year. You know, so yeah, we're just kind of making a push for that now. That's our main focus. Just hopefully finish the season undefeated if we can, and then more importantly, kind of going on to win the championship. So yeah, really good season. I think best season, in our short history.
What do you think what do you think has been the key factor in this progression?
Recruitment, social media, creating a positive environment, being open to change. So we have someone in our club called Gareth who basically is a social media whiz. Like if you just look at our social media, it's just incredible the amount of stuff he puts out there, and every
It's very
single person that
impressive.
joins. Yeah, and I'm impressed because I did the social media for the first year, and just comparing that to what he's doing now, it's night and day. And I'm kind of glad that he took over from that. But everyone that joins, we kind of ask them how did you find out about it, and it's always the Facebook or the website. So we're doing something good, and we've brought a lot of really really good players and experienced players to help the metalheads grow, and then we've also brought a lot of new players to develop, and we grew so much that we had to start a second team called the Bats, which this is the second season, and this past Sunday was their first ever win, which was a big milestone for the club. So yeah, I think just having that social media presence and doing everything we can to be proactive with getting word out that we exist. There was one of our teammates who kind of mentioned that, you know, there was another club that was 5 minutes down the road from him, but he didn't know they existed, and as a result, he came to Birmingham, which is 40 minutes drive. But it's just stuff like that that I think has
Mm.
a good impact. So yeah, just doing everything we can to get the word out, and then a lot of referrals. So like we have a lot of players who have friends that used to play baseball back in the day. A lot of them from the Hispanic community who bring their friends over and join as well. So word of mouth as well is another way.
Brilliant. It's great to see that you're thriving. And of course, now you have the addition of the Birmingham Goats, the
Yeah,
youth setup.
yeah.
When did you decide? What was the deciding factor in thinking that you needed a youth team, and how did you start it, and what sort of things have you been doing so far?
Yeah, I think the main reason why I wanted to start the goats was because I looked at our team and I looked at the average age that people start playing baseball in this country, and it's just too high in my opinion. When you look at football, when you look at cricket, when you look at rugby, there's a lot of kids playing those sports. So when they're 21 like me when I started, they'll have been playing it for 10 years, 10, 12 years, and they will be a lot better than I was when I started at 21. So I think just wanting to reduce that starting age for baseball in this region, obviously, and then obviously in this country as well. I just think that as a long term, for this club to succeed and for this club to kind of thrive for the next 10, 15, 20 years, because I'm not here just for 1 year or 2 years, like my plan's to be here as long as I can, and we need long-term planning. And as a result, I just spoke to the management and I said, look, I want to start a youth team. I'm ready to kind of do everything that I need to do to get it going. And yeah, we started in May. We meet every Friday at 6 p.m. in Marston Green. We haven't missed a single week, and we'll continue until August. And yeah, I mean, the numbers on average, we're averaging around 10 to 12 kids, which obviously I know a lot of other youth clubs have a lot more. But our goal is to just grow organically over a long period of time. I literally told our management if one kid turns up, we're still going to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've also kind of worked to bring in guest coaches because I've never coached baseball. I've been playing baseball for 4 years. There's a lot that I can learn. So, I'm not sure if you know Stephen from Hearts, Stephen Wong. He
No.
basically leads Hearts youth program,
Yeah.
and just from traveling around and knowing some people, I was introduced to him, and he came and delivered a great session. And then this Friday we have Chris Ward, who I'm sure you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've had the show, GB under 12 head coach. He's coming this Friday to deliver a session for us at Birmingham. So I've just been working to increase the quality of the program, and if that means I have to step back and let better suited people take control, that's fine. I just think we need a great youth setup because our club will benefit in the long run, as will like the general West Midlands landscape.
What have been your biggest challenges in setting up the youth system?
Volunteers and coaches. I think that's been the big one. So right now, obviously, because it was me that came with the idea, I kind of have to be there. Not that I don't want to, obviously, but it's my responsibility. Bob, who's one of our players, our chairman, his son Mark plays with us as well at the Goats. So Bob is there most weeks, and then that's kind of about it. We have a few parents that come and chip in, but I think we need to also understand that a lot of our senior players, they just want to play, and that's fine. So I think there will be a bit of a recruitment drive from myself in the off season, trying to bring as many people who I think, would be able to do it, even if it means having a rota and kind of rotating and things of that nature. But I think we need more coaches because that means we can have more capacity for more young people.
Yeah.
So that's been the biggest challenge. With numbers, I didn't really have a metric that I would use to measure success. I think for me, just existing and functioning and delivering weekly sessions for this season is enough in terms of numbers. Just putting ourselves out there and showing that we can exist. So yeah, that's been our main challenge really, just having volunteers and coaches.
That's amazing. What have you found really works well with the kids?
Making it competitive, having like a points based system of sorts. Kind of putting them against each other, because like obviously when you're an adult, you're working on the fundamentals and you're working on the drills, and you kind of understand that yes, it's fun, but also I'm here to improve and work on myself. But when it's a young person, they're there just to have fun and have a good time. And I've just noticed that when I'm just doing a drill for the sake of the drill, yeah, they do it, but the energy isn't the same as if we have the drill, but there's a point scoring system, and you put them in two different teams, and who can get the highest, and you kind of egg them on to be the best versions of themselves. So I think that works a lot, and that's something I saw from Stephen, who, as I mentioned, was a guest coach in one
Yeah.
of my sessions. Everything he did was competitive. None of it was just doing the drill for the sake of the drill. Everything behind it had some competitive spirit behind it, and the kids had so much energy for those 2 hours.
That's amazing. That's really
Yeah.
interesting. What sort of ages are you getting down there? Are you found that it's like patches of different age groups, or does it tend to be one more than the other?
Yeah. So I chose the age group of 9 to 13. I don't know if that was the right age group to start. Obviously, maybe you'd want to start younger, but I was just thinking we'd want to have some sort of feeder system to the adult team, so
Mm,
start it at a later age group. But the numbers that are coming in is more so 8 to 12-year-olds that are coming in. We have about 4 or 5 that are 12 that are pushing on 13, and obviously they're more physically developed and they learn quicker. So that actually has been one of the challenges, is having, someone who is a secondary school student and then someone who's in year 3, and trying to kind
yeah.
of manage the differences in body size, in how quick or how long it takes someone to learn the game. Um, so yeah, that's been one of the challenges. But yeah, 8 to 12, I think, kind of is the age range that we have.
Things I really love about being part of the Manchester Kids youth setup is that there's so many different ages, and the kids have like maybe 4. I think the youngest one is. Yeah,
Nice.
about 4 up to probably 12, 13. I think the oldest one is.
Nice.
And they're all playing and doing the drills at the same time. We have a scrimmage at the end, and they're just it's just great to see big smiles on faces, and they're playing for the love of the game. No one seems to be no one feels left out. Like you always get the kid that's picked last in football and goes in net. There's no sort of baseball version of that I can
Yeah,
see. Everyone wants to get involved. Everyone wants to play certain positions and mixing it up and changing around and asking questions and learning. Really, such a great sport to learn on the job with them. And yeah, there's just no stress, no pressure really. Well,
yeah,
since I'm not running the sessions, I'm just
yeah,
like out.
yeah, yeah. At Manchester, how long have you guys been doing it?
John has been doing it for quite a while.
Okay.
Me and Madeline have been involved since 2000, 2020, 2021, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
when it
so
was
good.
about four-ish, five-ish. But he's always had like a foam bat and ball here that we play with in the
Yeah,
back garden, and he's now at that level where he's just smacking the ball over into next door neighbour's
yeah,
garden. So I think we need to get him onto the park a bit more and progressing him into bigger fields, and he can proper like rip on a um on a Wednesday night with his mates down at baseball. One of the things that I was going to say as well, I learned from Chris when he comes down. I'd be interested to see if he rocks up with a set of baseball cards or some homework. Um,
yeah.
because he was telling me that what he does with the Guildford youth team, he used to give them baseball cards. I think he said, and he would like
Oh,
give the kids homework. And Jonathan Rodriguez, the old under-18s coach, um, taught me something quite fun about baseball cards too, where he used them as training tools for like body positions, like how they
uh,
put someone their stance when they're going to bat
yeah,
or how they're preparing to pitch. So I've been kindly sent a load from Lou Olson in the States, who does the podcast of Hall of Very Good, which is a wonderful podcast if you ever get a chance to listen to it. And he sends me baseball cards over every now and then. And I just divvy them out to the kids. They take one each. I've sort them into piles of which look interesting that they can learn from. And I just say,
yeah,
take them, see what you can learn from him, and then tell me a fun fact about the players next time I see you. And I think it just adds an extra level to the learning process, I suppose.
yeah. That's quite interesting, and I think also like what it does is it makes them interested in the actual game and maybe watch some professional games because I know a lot of our kids they watch football, they don't really follow MLB or anything
Mm.
else. So yeah, that's quite interesting. I'm definitely looking to maybe do a bit of that.
I wonder if it like me and Meliton, we watch the highlights in the morning. I
Yeah,
think when he realizes the game is 2.5 hours long, he's gonna be mortified. He probably thinks
and it's at 3 a.m. as well.
baseball games are like 10 minutes long.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, that might be like a good place to start as well. If the kids got any favorite teams or something, get him interested in getting a favorite player early on and learning from him.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. I would like to know what sort of things you're passionate about away from baseball.
Yeah, so I'm a scout. I've been a scout for most of my life. I've been a leader for 6 years. Literally just come back from a road trip from Birmingham all the way through Paris, Milan, Lake Como, Switzerland, and then back through Luxembourg. So a lot of miles on the road. I think it was over 2,000 miles that I drove. It was four adults and 12 kids. So it was quite interesting, being with kids for basically a week. But yeah, so I've been a scout leader. I just passionate about like youth development
Yeah.
in all aspects, not just baseball. And a big part of why I started the goats was because I just saw the power of youth development and just helping these young people build skills for life. Over the years and kind of seeing that growth and development, and it gives me a lot of fulfillment. It's one of the most fulfilling things for me to see a young person kind of have a challenge, work through it, and get better. And I just thought if I could merge that with baseball, it'll be amazing. And that's kind of how the goat started. So yeah, scouts I think is the thing that I spend most of my time in outside of baseball. Outside of baseball and scouts, I'll be honest, I'm a very boring person. There's nothing else really I do. I travel, but it's just scouts and baseball for me.
And your anime.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
my anime. Yeah, when I have time for that. Yeah.
What is it about helping kids that drives you?
don't know what it is. It's just like that before and after for me is really fulfilling. Um, whether it's with scouts and we're kind of teaching them how to have that confidence, maybe public speaking, maybe a young kid who was nervous about leading a campfire just kind of pushes through and does it, and you see how happy they are with their own growth and development. And I get happy when I see other people being happy with their growth and development, and that's just something that I've always had growing up. And yeah, I can't really explain it. It's just seeing other people grow and develop just fulfills me. And that's why even at work or at in anything that I do, I just try to help out as much as I can. And obviously I'm not saying I'm some guru who knows everything, far from that. But if I see someone who could do with some help, I'm always trying to do what I can. But yeah.
I knew you were a dude. I knew you were going to be a dude before I even spoke to you properly. What a wonderful thing. It's very rare that you'll find people that want to do something for the people, especially helping kids. Oh, I suppose helping kids might not be a rare thing, but that are willing to go out of the way to support others before themselves. I think you find that a lot less and less nowadays, especially one of the main reasons why I've come off social media is because I can't be asked with
Yeah.
all the negativity and people not being the best towards each other. And I find this really refreshing that, you know, it, it's encouraging to know there's people still out there that are doing wonderful things for no reason apart from they just want to see others thrive and grow. Your credit
Happy.
to yourself and to your family and to your ball club.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that.
Uh, um, yeah, like, have you ever thought about combining your love of scouts and baseball together? Like, I can't remember who I was talking to, but when a bit ago, I was having a chat with someone about developing youth baseball in the area, and I said, well, why don't you pitch it to clubs and scouts? And then if you've got like six scouts troops in the area, that's six teams there, and you've got an inter-divisional league.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty
Wow.
sure there's probably rules about mixing business and pleasure sort of thing, but what sort of inventive ways have you thought about growing the sport
I
outside of
haven't
the goats?
Uh, I haven't thought of scouts. When you mentioned the idea to me, I was like, yeah, what have I been doing? Like that's it's kind of logical. It makes sense to try to look around and see if there's any scout troops or explorer units in the area. No, I haven't done that. Speaking to Lee Manning from the BBF when we first started, I kind of just asked him for some advice on how we can grow it. And there's some fireworks, by the way. Can you hear it, or are we
Yeah, I
okay?
can hear it. Yeah, yeah. That's all
Yeah.
right. You're fine.
Yeah. Um, and he said that when they started at Hearts, they went to primary schools and they just did some taster days and things of that nature. We haven't had the time to do that because we kind of created the idea and we started straight away. But over the off season, I'm definitely looking to reach out to schools. Now that you've mentioned it, go to scout groups and see if there's anything that we can do there. Maybe just have a family fun day thing in the local community in
Hmm.
Solihull around Marston Green, just to get people to get involved because there's football clubs and cricket clubs nearby, and I know that the football season ends just as baseball starts. So if we are able to bring as many of those young people that play football who have nothing to do now, for the
Yeah.
summer, if they can get involved in baseball, that'd be amazing. So yeah, just a lot of work that we need to do in the off season to kind of take that next step. But yeah, we're ready for it.
Have you reached out to Will Linton as well?
Yeah, yeah. I've messaged him. Um, that's the T Rex
Yeah,
T-ball thing. Yeah,
T-Rex T-ball.
yeah. So our age group right now isn't the right age group for that, but I am in a group with Will Linton about for the mix and match tournaments that they do around the country. We definitely want to get involved in that next year, just to give our kids some game experience, even if it's kind of like a friendly and it's a draft and you mix players
Hmm.
up. It's not like you're not representing Birmingham. That's fine. But our plan is essentially first year just to exist and function and have some sort of thing going on, build some momentum. Next year is take part in mix and match and get involved with the other clubs around the country. And then hopefully in our third year, we can have some sort of team that represents Birmingham. How that looks, I don't know now. Obviously, we'll adapt as time moves on. But yeah, that's kind of our 3-year plan that we've got cooking up.
That's brilliant. So as we sort of come towards the close of the pod, there's a couple of questions I'd like to round off some of the feel goods. What has baseball given to you, and what are you grateful to the game for?
Honestly, I would say the people. I don't know what it is about baseball, but baseball seems to just attract the most incredible people, the most selfless people, the most helpful people, just people that care about the community they're in. I've made a lot of friends. I've made a lot of friends, for life through baseball. And yeah, and it's also given me an avenue to kind of combine, my two passions, which is playing baseball and being a scout leader and developing young people, to now what I've done with the goats. I was saying to you earlier that like that for me is more enjoyable now than playing baseball, and I would have never thought that 3 years ago. Um, yeah, and it's given me not to kind of go too deep into it, but it's given me like a sense of purpose. I feel like I'm contributing something that's worthwhile, that is going to hopefully change lives and help young people kind of grow over time. And even if they don't play baseball after they leave the goats, hopefully they've built some skill sets and they've had a good time and enjoyed themselves and some good memories for them. Yeah, that's basically what baseball's given me.
Brilliant. What are some of your favorite on-field memories?
I'd say without doubt, number one is winning the Summer Cup um, last month. It was just a culmination of 3 to 4 years of just working hard and doing everything we can to get as good as we can. I was there when we lost 10 games out of 12, and then I was there when we won and we beat the Mets in the AA final. And just seeing that, because that moment when that last out was, done, it kind of validated all the hard work and pain and suffering and tears that we kind of went through as a group. And a lot of the original metalheads from the first year were there on the field that
Mm,
day. So it was just, incredible. So I'd say that's probably my top on the field moments.
brilliant. Who is on your Mount Rushmore of British baseball people, for individuals that you'd like to show some love to?
Yeah, so this is one I had to think about, and the way that I'm putting it is I'm gonna pick the top four people who have been most influential to me and with my baseball experience. So number one is someone that I've mentioned earlier, John, who is our stats person at Birmingham Baseball Club. Literally 3 years ago, when I was running the socials, we got a message from some random guy called John saying, "Hi guys, I don't want to play baseball. Don't care about being on the field. I love data. I love numbers. I want to just sit on the side and just score all your games on the iPad and do look at the analytics and help our players develop and do scouting reports for our opponents." And he's been, without doubt, in my opinion, the most important person in the club, and I don't even say that as a joke. Just the dedication he has. He lives and breathes baseball, and he's become a great friend, to me. And like I said, whenever I'm not on the field, I'm always sitting next to him in what he calls scorer's corner, just under the gazebo, just sitting next to his cooler, having some cold drinks and just enjoying a game of baseball. That's number one. Um, Number two is Alex Santos, who until recently was the head coach of our second team, the Birmingham Bats. He basically joined the club the same time as me, and we kind of grew together. And he's become one of my closest friends, even outside of baseball. And just kind of seeing him grow and become a great catcher. He started and he told me, I want to play catcher. I've never played it, but I want to play catcher. Again, he also watched Ace of Diamond, the anime, and there's a character who plays catcher that he wants to play like. But yeah, so that's Alex, and then taking that leadership role, stepping away from the Metalheads, where he definitely, absolutely would have, merited, a start there to coach the second team. That's some sacrifice that I really respected. Um, the third person is Stephen Wong, who is, as I mentioned earlier, the youth coach at Hearts. Um, I haven't known him as long as the others, but just what he's done for youth baseball and kind of seeing his dedication to that is what inspired me to start youth baseball. And him sacrificing time to come over to Birmingham when he doesn't live anywhere near Birmingham to deliver a session, and inviting me over to Hearts when Chris Ward did a session over there. That's how I got to know Chris. He kind of just just took me under his wing and gave me a lot of guidance with regards to youth baseball. And then the last person is another one of my teammates at Birmingham, Ron Blackwood. So he used to play with Birmingham Outlaws back before they
Yeah,
rebranded.
yeah,
And he's kind of one of the OGs, and he's just kind of taken me under his wing. He lives just down the road from me, so before I had a car in my first year, he gave me all the lifts to training and took me back, and just gave me a lot of guidance. And this is his last year; he's going to be retiring. Um, it's just incredible what he's been able to do at his age has inspired me to be like, you know what, if I'm not playing baseball in 25 years, like I have no excuse basically. um so yeah, so Ron Blackwood, absolute legend of a guy, and one of my heroes.
brilliant. And what is your one wish for British baseball?
One wish for British baseball, I think if every single senior club had a youth club or a youth team, that would be, I know I'm kind of just dragging on this youth thing, but I just think it's so important.
No, I agree.
If every single senior team put in the time and effort to have a youth provision, the overall standard of the country would increase by tenfold and beyond, and the national team would benefit from that. The overall level of competition would benefit from that. If we are to potentially have tours and play in Europe, we'd do a lot better. I just think you know I've done it this year, and I know it's really hard, and I'm not saying it's a walk in the park, but it's possible. And start small. Even if one kid turns up, just keep going and have a long term vision. And if British baseball can do that, it'll be incredible. Yeah, because obviously we have the BBF Youth Super League, I think they call it. I think there's 3 or 4 teams that take part in that, because obviously they're kind of at that elite standard. If we had 20, 25 of these teams that are at that level, we could have like an incredible national youth program.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's my wish. I don't know how long it'll take. I don't know if we'll get there, but if I had a wish, that would be it.
yeah. Well, it just takes one passionate,
Yeah,
dedicated person to get started. Like you've shown, you don't need to have the coach qualifications. You've got to have a passion and desire to help your club grow and do something good for the kids.
yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Saeed, this has been an absolute pleasure. I love talking to you. This has been superb. Thank you so much for your time again.
Thank you.
As always, the last bit goes to the guest, so the floor is yours. Any shout outs you want to give? Any last words or parting advice?
Oh, put me on the spot there. I think anyone here who kind of is on social media, just follow Birmingham Baseball Club. It helps our reach. It helps grow our club. Everyone that's joined our club has mentioned our online presence is what's got them there. So, if you have, 30 seconds, go online, search Birmingham Baseball Club on Facebook, search Brum_baseball on Instagram. Just help, our overall online standing, and that will help us grow as a baseball club. And if we grow as a baseball club, then obviously every single club across the country would also benefit from that. So yeah, that's my message.
Excellent. Saeed, enjoy the rest of the evening. Catch you soon.